because it was delicious, before I passed out on her couch. But this is Family Business Beer Company.
It's around beer, your family.
It is around beer, your family.
That's their slogan. I didn't make that up.
Would have been cooler if you did.
It'd be a whole lot cooler if you did.
Hill Country Imperial Stout. It's rich, robust, pitch black, and ominous. Fits the theme of Supernatural, right? Obviously, it's Jensen Ackles Brewery. Together over beer. We brew quality beer made for quality time. Beer is a way of bringing people together, and we believe it's best when shared, whether it's the family you were born into or the one you choose. Gather around the table, scooch down. There is a seat for everybody. It is 8.6 to a little 12-ounce can. I'm very surprised. Thank you. This is delicious. I didn't know, this feels like I'm drinking actual gold on the show, to believe it or not.
It is yummy. I do love this beer. I really love all their beer, and their beer is not I think their stout is really good. This is my favorite beer is the Grackle 100% from them, especially their barrel aged one. It's even better.
What I've had.
But there's always, every time I drink one, it tastes a little bit extra good because it just has that little family business pixie dust in it.
Jensen pours little drips. They have a thing.
Just breathed on it.
They have different things for each beer, right? He breathes into this container, so they have this whole vat of his breath, and then he also sweats from working out, and he's getting all muscular for the boys. So he put little drops of his sweat into the beer. Nope, that's the magic. That's
it's soup juice. It's not sweat. It's soup juice.
No, soup juice is what that doesn't go. Anyways.
I actually have my little Jensen right here.
Oh God, you are getting ready to go to the con in a couple weeks.
I know I am.
It's the weekend before Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, and so I have this little thing that I bought at Michael's that I put on my little Supernatural shelf in my bar area for Thanksgiving. It says "Give thanks, eat pie."
Okay, that's amazing. I love that. It's probably just it is Michael's. I was about to say there's no way it's Supernatural related, but it's
not at all.
Well, I'm gonna go to Michael's and find that because that's amazing.
Ian has this little squirrel that he got at Michael's that is a demon. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Demon
Squirrel
Bean.
Demon? Cool.
Yes, because Ian loves squirrels, and it also just happens to be.
Wasn't there some scare? However, it is Catherine Newton. She has fallen through the quantum universe, and this is where Castiel finds her.
However, holy shit, that guy looks like broccoli.
What? She's in a group home. He tries to get her out. They say no. So he then busts her out. It's a big jailbreak. She escapes, goes back to some.
Don't worry, they're just sleeping because he angel sleeped them to sleep.
Angel dust, pocket sand, pocket dust. And from that point, she goes back to some stupid idiot that takes advantage of her, which then leads to Castiel asking the Winchesters for help. Dean having the Mark of Cain, obviously, and Dean Mark of Caining them all. What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah. He Mark of Cained them. He murdered them with the Mark of Cain.
Oh, okay.
He went full Mark of Cain and murdered them all.
I thought I was illiterate for a second.
No, I was just making up ways.
Yeah, I mean, the dude was literally trying to, do unwanted advances on Claire. Meanwhile,
so gross. He gave the guy permission to go rape her.
Yeah,
that's sometimes the show gets really dark, and you're like, how did they get away with this on the CW? She was straight up about to get raped.
Whole different CW back then. Rowena is currently locked up in Crowley's little dungeon, where we learn that Crowley was conceived during a winter solstice orgy. So Rowena did not know who his dad was.
I love the way she said that. Of course I wouldn't know who your father is. I wasn't taking names at the winter solstice orgy. Keep in mind, Crowley sold his soul for an extra 3 inches of willy because he wanted to be in the double digits. So this is the family.
He lets Rowena out of the dungeon and kind of by his side. So go ahead with your fun facts.
So when Castiel urges Claire to eat more vegetables, she replies that ketchup is a vegetable. And that guy looks like broccoli. This is referring to the controversy early in the Reagan administration over school lunch regulations that allowed items such as ketchup to be counted as a serving of vegetables for meeting the nutritional requirements, which at the time was probably the food pyramid. We now recognize that the food pyramid is a bunch of bullshit created by food companies like Milk. Does a body good. Dean then backs up Claire's statement because, of course, poor innocent Cass asks Dean, is ketchup a vegetable? And Dean's says something along the lines of damn right it is.
It's, yeah. Well, I think this was
what?
An episode.
It was an episode. I think what I loved about this, though, was seeing how cold Cass was to Claire last time he saw her and how matter of fact and how warm he is to her this time and how he's trying to make good on his promise to Jimmy and he's, trying to be a father figure to Claire. And
Right.
it's fun and interesting to see him struggle with fatherhood because he's not her father. He just looks like
And he
her
also
father.
doesn't really have like emotions because he's an angel. Like they don't have all these instincts.
But there was a crack in his chassis when he was made, and that's why Cass is so different than all these other angels.
I'm really glad that you are here because I don't pick up on those things.
Well, I've watched the show more than once, and I've probably watched too many videos and read too many things.
I've been doing this for 10 years, so there's no way I remember
should.
any of that stuff.
But Cass does develop emotions, which is very unique for an
Well, he does.
angel.
He's very different. He's got like attachment to Sam and Dean, and obviously to
Primarily
Claire.
Dean.
How could you not? I mean, even to Crowley, to like a weird, I hate you, but I don't hate you kind of thing. They end up buddy copping it at some point, right? So
yeah,
I definitely think that it is right because Cass turns around on Claire, and I think we actually get to, this is kind of like the first, like Claire becomes part of the family almost in this episode after everything goes down. Meanwhile, this is during my period of I don't like Rowena at this point. My stocks are rising on Crowley, love Crowley. My stocks on Rowena in the dumps. Buy now for stocks in Rowena because it turns around, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the episode. Like this is where you really kind of start to see Cass show emotions kind of towards other people that aren't Sam and Dean is what I was trying to get at.
that makes sense. But yeah, no, I do love the evolution of this relationship. And I love Claire and Dean's relationship because I really do feel like Claire is the younger girl version of Dean. And so I love
100%. She's so hard-headed.
Yeah, I think it's this one where he calls her Miley Cyrus and she doesn't skip a beat and she calls him David Hasselhoff. And I was
Yeah.
He's a little like taken back and shocked. Like there are some people I hear that like don't like Claire. And I'm like, what do you not like about her? She's a young kid who lost her parents very young. Like she's gone through a lot of shit. Now she's got to watch this guy walk around that looks exactly like her father because he's in her father's body. Well, I guess not really because Lucifer like atomized him, but I think she's adorable and I think she's sweet and I think she's cute and I think she's badass at the same time. And I think she's a smart ass and I think she does a great job and Catherine Newton kills it.
I love her. Actually, she's really impressive. Really is in this. She really captures the spirit of Jensen as Dean. You know what I'm saying? Like they are kind of cut from the same cloth. Both of them are kind of lost their ways. They have a dad, but like daddy wasn't there to change my underwear, to take me to the fair. Daddy wasn't there. If anybody remembers Austin Powers, you're welcome. And so they really are. It's kind of like a little sister aspect. But let's go into episode 11, the Hunter Games, not to be confused with the Hunger Games. Episode 10. Rowena is messing with Crowley and planting some hex bags, which is hilarious to see that go down, first of all. Dean's getting out of control because of the mark. Just get rid of it, Dean. We don't know how yet. So Cass reaches out to Heaven, asks for Metatron specifically, as he hopes that he can help. Metatron is a dick still, but he thought he was dead, or a demon. And Dean eventually attacks Metatron. Cass has to return him in one piece. Meanwhile, Cass is trying to be there for Claire, but she's terrified of Dean at this point, as rightfully so, because Dean kind of goes overboard.
That whole room of people.
Yeah, she tries to set Dean up, actually.
They only had themselves to blame.
They do. This was, Claire tries to set Dean up. It backfires. Cass finds Claire, lets her go off on her own again. On my way home, sweet
I thought that was interesting, too, because she's like, how are you here? How did you find me? And he's like, well, you were praying. And she's like, I wasn't praying. He's like, I can still pick up if there's a longing. So that means that Claire was thinking about Castiel. And that's how Castiel was able to find her. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, he really gets kind of in tune. And I think this one, too, really shows and like solidifies the bond that they kind of have together in like that mutual understanding of, hey, I'm here for you, regardless of, what happened to your dad, regardless of anything in the past. I'm here. I don't know what to do, right? I'm an angel, but I'm going to try my best.
But even if he wasn't an angel, that's still like let's say it was a step parent situation and the mother died, or like some other kind of weird situation. It's like sometimes parents don't know what to do, and like what's good for one child is not good for another child. So
I am
it's
finding out in real life. Jeez, like no, there's no handbook to this shit, man.
well, see, my first was one of those. I always knew what to do. I always knew if she did good, how to praise her. If she wasn't behaving, I knew what to do
Same
in
with
that
my
regard.
first.
Easy. I wouldn't say easy peasy. Parenting's still hard even with an easy kid.
I
The
mean, it was
second one,
easier. Like even now, it's way easier navigating my firstborn versus the secondborn who had a day off from school for punching a kid on the swing in kindergarten. And then on the back of the form they sent home, the charges were explained with to your child. We recommend you talk to them. Like charges. She's a kindergartner. Is she a felon already?
Right.
Don't even get me started. Sorry. Tangents. The fuck?
The charges. Yeah, okay, so some fun facts from this episode. Obviously, the name is a nod to the Hunger Games. This episode is
Yes.
actually dedicated to Matt Riley. He was an extra and a stand-in for Jared Padalecki. The cast honored him and his struggle. I'm assuming he died from suicide because they were wanting people to understand mental illness and to get help for those who are in crisis. So I think that's great. They actually nod him do a nod to him in a future episode. There's a picture of him in the background. So Supernatural is very much so a family, and I love that you always see the in honor of, and they don't seem to forget the people that they have lost along the way. Metatron makes a comment about how he's always sticking it to the jocks. He was a nerd in Revenge of the Nerds. And that is probably what that reference that comment was in reference to. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. That's all I got.
I just hate Metatron, man. Anytime
He's
he's
up
on
there.
screen.
Him and Dolores Umbridge are like up
Oh
there
my
together.
God, that's yes. They're again, two people that are cut from the same cloth. Like they're just a-holes to be a-holes, I feel like, because they have that little, they're like those people that were bullied and they get the slightest hint of power. Yeah, God. It's absolutely just, I hate him. Hate him. I don't know what to tell you. I hate him. Hate. Loathe entirely. Take us to episode 11. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and tell you how much I hate Metatron forever. What is
I was just going to let you keep quoting the Grinch.
Oh, your face was like that of shock. I was like, plus, dude, we already got plenty of shock last night. Nothing can really surprise me even further.
No, I looked at my phone and Hamilton was playing in the kitchen, which means Braille's playing Hamilton on my Spotify.
Oh.
Okay. There's no place like home. Charlie is back from Oz, but there are two of her. One evil, one good. We talked about the other episode, the other Oz. So the evil one is out for revenge against the person who killed her parents and those involved in covering up the DUI that killed her parents. Charlie became two people when the Wizard of Oz told her she needed to release her inner darkness in order to fight the war in Emerald City. Sadly, the key back to Oz is broken, so they find an old man of letters that had been rescued from Oz. Turns out he's the good half of the Wizard of Oz. I did not see that coming. Dun, dun, dun. He helps Charlie become whole again, but he dies in the end, which causes his wizard self to die too. At the end, Charlie learns about the mark, and of course, she wants to help Dean.
Does we all want to help? Oh no.
Yeah.
We love the Wizard of Oz. I'll say that.
I was about to say, well, who doesn't? Erica doesn't. She doesn't like the Wizard of Oz.
Really? It's my mom's favorite movie, as I probably mentioned in the past. And they have all sorts of like wicked Legos and things like it now. And Harper, my daughter, is obsessed with it. She was Glenda.
Are they wicked Legos?
They are. Well, I don't
wicked
really care.
Cool.
I don't really care. Like, I'm not buying these Legos. They don't interest me at all, personally. My brother's buying my mom a wicked Lego set for Christmas. Like, she doesn't care about Legos like that, dude. I'm sorry. Anyways,
so she buys them. Will that make her popular?
Be
popular.
She likes like the dolls and stuff. Like that's the thing that she collects. Anyways, my daughter was Glenda. But then she just watched Wizard of Oz. She talked about how much she hated it, but she finally all of a sudden is obsessed with it. Whatever, I really. Anyways, fun facts. Good Charlie's wearing a shirt that reads, "What would Falkor do?" Falkor is the name of the luck dragon in the Never-Ending Story. Will forever be haunted by that movie. In Slumber Party in 2013, when Charlie leaves for Oz, Dean asks if Sam thinks she'll be back, and Sam replies, "There's no place like home," which is the title of this episode. She does come back. It's not like our Charlie. Yeah, it's not our Charlie because our Charlie.
Oh, you mean in the future? Yeah.
Wait.
Well, I mean, she's not dead yet. She doesn't die in this one, so she's still.
I thought she died with the Leviathan.
No, the Steins kill her.
Oh my God. That's right, dude. You know, this is what
Bobby's
happens
killed
when I
by the
take notes.
Leviathan.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh.
So this is the episode though where she calls Sam and Dean Rocket and Groot, which I think is
That's
fantastic.
right. I thought, I mean, yeah, it's like a cool thing, but you're right. And Charlie's like so innocent, honestly. She's such a great, like Felicia Day is such a sweetheart. We've obviously met her in person. Really, she complimented my Roosevelt shirt, no big deal. We got to stand
She
side by
was shocked that I had
side.
a daughter as old as I do.
Yeah, she was Felicia Day is
All the
amazing.
compliment.
But I love the pop culture tie-ins, right? Like when you implement the Wizard of Oz, I may not like I hard love the Wizard of Oz, but it means something to me, so I pay a little bit more attention
Oh,
to
it was
it.
my favorite movie when I was little.
And oh, that's cool. I mean, you saw it in theaters when it first premiered, didn't you?
Oh, fuck off. You said that with
Yes.
such a serious tone, too.
Yes. Lauren was actually there in 1939 when it came out in theaters.
Yep,
Right,
I remember
right
opening
before
night.
she started working the factories during World War II.
Yeah, I'm actually wrote the original Rosie the Riveter.
Okay, funny story today, right? Obviously, the election is coming, and I was making a joke to my friend who's a girl. I was like, you know what? Before you get sent to the concentration camps, I have an attic. You can come stay there. You just might have to share space. And I said, you can share space with Helen Keller. She was like, do you mean Anne Frank? I was like, I do. I don't know why I said Helen Keller, but
I was gonna say Helen Keller.
I definitely didn't mean this whole joke is kind of fucked up in regard, but like I definitely said Helen Keller. I meant Anne Frank. None it doesn't make it better in any sort of
probably
way.
makes it worse.
But
I don't know
anyways, episode 12 about a boy. He doesn't always say the right things. This is a Hansel and Gretel case. I love a good old fashioned German story. A witch is turning grown-ups into kids so she can eat them. Nom, 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 nom. She used to just eat kids, but then people started getting upset when a kid goes missing these days. You know, gosh, how could we? I don't know what reality she's living in. Never mind. I'm going to take that down a very dark road. Let's continue on. So Dean and some lady are suddenly like 14 and locked up. This is the same actor that we saw in Bad Boys with Dean flashbacks at the house for troubled boys. It is. He's a little grown up now, a little bit more. Young Dean escapes, finds Sam. I loved like modern day Sam with old young Dean teaming up. That was hilarious. They kill Hansel and Gretel. Dean becomes a grown up again. The girl stays young. They see her off and then they drive away.
Okay. That was unnecessary though, because they had the like thing that turned Dean back into a grown up. And then for no fucking reason at all, he shoves it into the witch's mouth before throwing her into the oven. And then he's like, oh no, sorry, we can't change you back into a grown up.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was just trying to give her a redo on childhood. Maybe they shared some stuff. I don't know.
I get that. I think that it made more sense for the story. Like you can't save, but like they can always save them, but they can't save the other people. That was unnecessary. He didn't need to shove that in her mouth. It wasn't like she was biting the people. Like
she was just turning. Okay, first of all,
what should have happened is like if she had grabbed it while they were throwing her in the fire or something. Sure.
How do you expect me to like be any sort of like PC during this episode? Because in my opinion, I would feed this witch until she's fat, just off of like a certain side of the spectrum who voted the wrong way. I would be like, dude, turn them into kids, eat them. That's going to help us. Hell yeah, we're going to save America that way. We're just going to feed this witch until she's fat as fuck, dude. I digress. I'm sorry. Like, how do you expect me to do a podcast like this? Like, especially come on.
You were doing good until a few minutes ago.
Yeah, well, we start like relating things to real life in a roundabout way, and now all of a sudden I'm just like, right. You know what?
Well, she did mention Rowena. Did you say that?
She mentions Rowena after they drive off to shake it off.
Okay, that
was my wedding song. Not
before
that I had.
dying, the witch did mention. Okay, so that's why she's in the States, was because she's looking for Rowena, because Rowena's causing trouble.
Always, always.
We have talked about this more than once with the parody of Shake It Off with Hillywood.
Well, Hillywood's done a lot of stuff, so
yeah, and they did the Ghostbusters, the Winchesters. So at the end of this, they are singing, or Dean's all happy about Shake It Off, and I think that that's a nod to that.
Yeah.
So the young Dean actor actually was 20 when he filmed this.
What? He looks like he's like 15.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's kind of wild.
This is interesting. So Dylan Everett plays young Dean in this episode.
Okay.
And in the episode, remember the Curious Case of Dean Winchester, where Dean gets turned into an old man?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that episode too. So that episode is played by Chad Everett.
His brother?
Chad Everett and Dylan Everett have no relation to each other, but they both played fantastic young and old deans.
I don't believe it. That's crazy. Are we sure they did it on purpose? They had to have.
I mean, fact is stranger than fiction. If the election can prove that. I'm serious, Clark. Okay, so Hansel was all. I know. I'm sorry. Hansel was also the tooth fairy in the episode with the half demon kid, who is then went on the boys. So so here's my question. So when Dean becomes young, the mark disappears, and Dean's like, "Well, that's a benefit. Maybe I can just stay young." The mark's gone. But where is Amara during this time? We now know.
Yeah, she's somewheres.
Right. We now know this was a cage for Amara. This was a lock and key to keep Amara close. So where the fuck was she during this time? This doesn't make sense. This is never answered.
I don't know. They don't answer it, really. Okay. Interesting. I wouldn't have known that. All right. Well, we are going to move on to episode 13, Halt and Catch Fire, which I think is actually a show that was on AMC for a while. It had the guy who was in Guardians of the Galaxy as, I forget his name, he's the bad guy.
Ronan?
Yeah, Ronan. The guy who played Ronan was in that, actually. Anyways, some dumbass college kids who can't put their phones down get into a car accident. Good. And kill someone when a power line falls on his car. So he starts to haunt them, killing them in the Final Destination way via power lines. This isn't the power line that I thought Goofy movie was talking about, but I guess it's the power line we got.
If we listen to each other.
One girl who wanted to call the cops manages to survive thanks to the boys, and she befriends the young widow. Some fun facts is Maddie Phillips is in this, who is also in a later episode. She is also in Gen V as the character Kate. Soldier Boy is her imaginary friend. Look at that. All comes full circle.
They always go back to some pillow talk.
I wonder why. The boys' aliases in this are Agent Cobain and Agent Grohl. Oof. Sorry, Dave. And for Kurt Cobain, Dave Grohl.
Fucking damn it, Dave.
Didn't age very well, did it, Dave? In computer engineering, halt and catch fire is an idiom referring to
like I was going to say, unlike his girlfriend.
Oof. Yes, idioms, computer machines, coding instructions causes computers to central processing unit to cease meaningful operation, typically requiring a restart of the computer. Yeah, this was an AMC show that came out. It was like a year after The Walking Dead started. This show came out for like 3 seasons before it was canceled. I know this. You're welcome, everybody.
I believe you.
Useless fun facts.
I'm not even going to fact check it. I believe you.
In the flashback of the accident, Julie takes a selfie, then complains that it makes her look like a hag. 25 years old. All right. Well, the actress who plays Julie, this episode aired on her 26th birthday. So the jokes.
She was actually 25. They did that. So we actually recorded an episode recently. I think it might have been the Freddie one. And the actress says something like, "Oh, I look like I'm so old," because she was so tired. So I'm assuming that, and I think I even mentioned that when we recorded that. I think this was a nod to that, I have to assume. And it's funny because, yeah.
Yeah.
So this was like I Know What You Did Last Summer meets Final Destination, and they do mention Ghost in the Machine, which isn't really relevant. I just, it's a great beer. It's a great comic book company kind of going on.
Dude. So. Yeah. They killing it. Hyde Street. That's, if you like Supernatural, you would like Hyde Street and Hyde Street Devour. I'm just saying. Those are the 2 horror comics we got.
100%.
We're still waiting for, what was the other spooky one that takes place at the White House?
Halo and Hornsby and Halo.
No, what's the other? Is that the one that's
the Devil and the Angel?
I'm talking about the White House one that we talked about.
First Ghost.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's not going to be out till 2025. But Hornsby and Halo is like an angel being raised by bad people, and a demon being raised by good people, because heaven and hell cannot stop fighting. So they're trying different things. So that was definitely giving me, when they were describing that, giving me supernatural
all try
vibes.
New things. That comes out this month, right?
Yes, it does. And I have a little copy of it in here somewhere.
You already have it?
No, I have a teaser. They gave out little teasers at New York.
I was like, Lauren, you dead ass already have this issue and you didn't even share it with me. I'm gonna show up at your house
I'm
And
not that cool.
I'm snitching on you first thing. You're gonna go to the attic with Helen
I'm gonna
Keller.
share it right now. I'm gonna tweet it out, even though I got it early, even though I really didn't. It's in here somewhere. I'm gonna have to pull this
All
out.
right.
But no,
I believe you. I trust you. I
they
believe
gave
you.
a little like book, and like the first few pages is Hornsby and Halo, or Halo and Hornsby, and the other side is the Rocketeers. So it's the first
That's the
few
other one I'm really
pages.
excited for. Yeah. There's so many good things. Ghost Machine. Like, God damn it, guys. Pick up their comic books. They're really freaking good.
They are doing so good.
Why don't you take us to episode 14, though? What happens in episode 14, the Executioner song?
So Kane has gone off his rocker. He's back to doing what he does best, which is murder. He's essentially murdering everyone who came from him, which keep in mind, he's like Adam and Eve's kid, so that's a lot of freaking people. This includes the Winchesters, as there is a comment made in previous seasons that the Winchesters are direct descendants of Kane. Ooh. It kicks off with Kane murdering someone on death row, which was such a cool scene to see.
Not Death Row Records.
No, not Death Row Records. As the episode progresses, he's about to murder the murderer's child, who's only 12. Enter Dean with the first blade to finish Kane off, which was a phenomenal fight scene. He then gives the blade to Cass instead of back to Crowley, because Crowley showed up with it. They're like, hey, we need the blade. But Dean also lied to Crowley to get him to come. He's like, you're on Kane's list too. He was not on Kane's list. So Crowley, though, got his feelings hurt. And Rowena's, making fun of him. Like, oh, you just go when these hunters call you. So when, she's whispering stuff in Crowley's ear to kind of poison him against the Winchesters. But it was kind of sad because it's like Crowley, they just had their summer of bromance love. And then Crowley brings
going through it, man. I can relate.
Yeah. And then, he looks so sad when Dean's like, I like
photographs that you absolutely loved him. When he smiled.
It's true. We got any fun facts for this episode?
We do have fun facts. The title of this episode refers to the 1979 Pulitzer Prize winning fact-based novel by Norman Mailer about the crimes and execution of murderer Gary Gilmore. Gilmore was the first person to be executed in the United States since the death penalty was reinstated in 1976, after the United States Supreme Court suspended it in 1972. Fun facts. We love death.
At the end, after Dean does give Cass the blade and collapses into Sam's arm, Jensen had an actual knife in his hand and he stabbed Jared in the leg. I have seen the actual video of them talking about this at a convention, and Jared managed to stay in character. And so they used the scene where Jared actually gets stabbed. He stabbed him in the leg. It's probably pretty easy to find the clip. I've seen it at a convention where they talk about it and like they go back and forth and he's like, I didn't mean to stab you. I think it was supposed to be retractable, I guess, and it wasn't. I'm not really sure, but yeah.
How deep did it go? I'm like, that's terrible.
Great.
That's crazy. Like I used to do Jackass back in the day, but I didn't stab. Maybe I did stab. Anyways, that's terrible.
I don't know.
Okay. So, well, in the flashback to the accident, Julie. Oh wait, we already talked about that one. Where am I at? Oh God,
we're on 15.
At the end, after Dean
carried. This one's quick because it's got Cole in it. Nobody cares about Cole.
Cole is back. Some of his military friends come back. They're all dying of thirst to the point they're drinking blood. Come on, man. Ain't nobody that thirsty. Blood ain't quenching nobody's thirst. That shit's like hot. Come on, be for real. Be so for real. Come on.
Okay, Brielle.
Cole runs into the Winchesters investigating. It was another kind of con worm, like what killed Rufus. Cole gets it inside him, and him and Dean create a sweat lodge, and he's saved.
Woohoo! So the title of the episode refers to the 1990 book "The Things They Carried" by Tim O'Brien, which was a collection of semi-autobiographical short stories, which were based on the author's experiences in the Vietnam War. Ooh. I don't really have anything to say about this. It's very cut and dry. It wasn't relevant to the overarching story.
Cole was here.
I did not
Cole was
care
there.
for Cole.
They sweated it out in the sweat lodge. End of story. There's nothing.
Cole
there.
Finally accepted that Dean is not a bad guy and moved on with his life.
I am bad guy, but I'm not a bad guy.
So our last episode for this section of season 10.
Guys are going to confession, and then they're killing themselves. All right. Guys go to therapy finally, and they kill themselves. So interesting. Turns out like an old confession. Ghost. I know. I'm just messing. Okay, it's a joke. Guys will literally do X, Y, Z other than go to therapy.
Therapists don't go do 10 Hail Marys and you're all good to go.
Turns out an old ghost that just came to the States through a painting where her blood was incorporated is possessing and killing them. She got messed dicked over
I like
centuries
when
ago.
you edit and fight. Okay, you said.
Well, I'm
over.
trying for like YouTube
Sometimes you edit
purposes.
my stuff.
So like YouTube like doesn't like cussing, I guess. So I'm like not like we're
Oh,
at
I thought
1,000
they were
yet,
the
but
one
we
that
are.
didn't care. Oh,
Uh, I
that's
have to look into it.
lame.
Maybe if it's like if you're trying to get paid, which we're come on, we don't make shit from this podcast. So what do I care?
$15,
Can
man.
go.
In my hand.
She's taking off the fucking guys after she became a nun and died, as one does. So Dean goes to confession, where another hot nun helps Dean and Sam can stop.
Okay, now you're
Meanwhile,
making it so
Godkin
boring. You need to pull
Rowena
it back.
is getting some revenge on another witch whilst trying to get into her.
This went off the rails.
Anyways, there's a nun that's very bad that kills men who go to confession.
She's a
Whole big
naughty
thing.
Nun.
She is. Oh man, I think I saw this video a couple times. Didn't end in dying though. No. The guy gave her soul. Anyways, yeah, I remember this. The nun did not like dudes. There was a whole thing in the church. Painted Black's the song by the Rolling Stones, if you haven't guessed that by now. The episode actually takes place in Florence, Italy in 1520, and also in current time in Worcester, Massachusetts, my old stomping grounds. The Palladium's
I
right
only
on the
put
corner.
that in there for you.
It actually tracks that Worcester would have dead nuns, ghosts, because it's kind of a rough town. Anyways, the church featured in this episode was used as a filming location once before in season 2's Houses of the Holy. They love repeat stuff, which I mean, you're in Vancouver. What are you going to do? There's only so many places to go.
What you got to deal with, yeah.
Yeah. Not too many thoughts on this episode other than nun kill guys.
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was a good.
I thought it was cool, like a good spooky
twist.
episode.
Yeah, you don't realize she's a ghost at first, and I also, when Dean's in the confession, because at first they're just trying to lure the nun out to attack Dean, obviously use him as bait, but then he starts to actually like confess and talk to the priest a little bit. So it's always nice to see Dean get to be a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, we don't really see that too much, where Dean really kind of gives himself over, as he should, right? I mean, not that, but it is very rare. Like Sam's more in tune with his feelings. Dean's the hard exterior, so we don't see it all.
Because he's the protector. He's his whole life. His job has been to keep Sam safe.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very refreshing. Anytime we do get the emotional side of Dean, I think it's kind of cool. I will give you that 100%.
Yeah, and Jensen nails it every time. I mean, they both do great at those, but yeah.
Jensen's acting's so underrated, I feel like. I understand why he wasn't in more, and it's because of the fact that
Supernatural.
He did Supernatural for 15 seasons. But like now that he's done, and yeah, he did do The Boys, but like this dude should be in everything because his acting is that damn good.
I think that if the Alec Baldwin cowboy movie had happened, I think that a lot of people would have seen that. And I think it's such obviously the death of that woman is the worst part of the whole situation. Not going to downplay that by any means, whatever.
For sure.
But I think that was probably a huge missed opportunity for a massive audience to get to see his capabilities. Because I feel like obviously Supernatural is very niche, very, cult following at this point. And The Boys is very popular and very well known, but there's still a lot of people that don't watch The Boys. And then he's been in so many other random little things that I feel like an Alec Baldwin movie would have been like the first time that like the typical household would have seen him.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Especially because Alec Baldwin, like, I don't know anybody that's necessarily running out for Alec Baldwin in films, but there is a good, like, Alec Baldwin's been around forever. I mean, Jesus.
And it was going to be a Western. Like, I feel like just his name alone and the fact that I feel honestly, like that would have made it like a a well-known movie.
I think Westerns are due to come back anyways, because we kind of got a good return to Westerns with the Enfield Gang Massacre in comic books. So I feel like there's an audience for Western films. They endear me to my grandfather. There's one thing that he always had on. So if there's a Western film, I typically tend to stop and kind of watch it. And this is one I would have watched. Not for the fact that like just, Dean's in it or Jensen's in it, but because of that fact. So I feel like Westerns are one of those things that are due to come back.
And maybe in a proper way and not a glorifying these white cowboys kind of way.
Kevin Costner. Is Kevin Costner? Yeah, he was the one who made like the movie about white people moving. I haven't either, but like Horizon, I think it's called. It's like, dude, this movie's...
There was a lot of people in that too, weren't there?
Yeah,
I
We
forgot that
live-
movie came and went so fast, and like
There's a reason, because it's literally about westward expansion and killing Native Americans and taking their ground and the plight of white people. You know, I don't know. Anyways, as we wrap up, that was episode 15. We will finish
16,
season
episode
16. Apologies. We will finish up season 10 next time we record, which is next week, which is going to be our Penguin wrap up episode, I think, or maybe it might be about.
Maybe we'll do Penguin live and then we'll do an episode, because next week we're going to do Thanksgiving the movie, which is the Eli
my
Roth
dad
horror
Eli
movie.
Roth.
And then the following week we're going to do our Thanksgiving sitcoms, which was a recommendation by Scott. And I want to talk about Friends. You want to talk about How I Met Your Mother. If anybody has a Thanksgiving episode, like TV show that means a lot to them, let us know. You know, obviously for me, Friends is I think Friends is the show that had Thanksgiving episodes perfected. But How I Met Your Mother.
That's what we're going to debate. That's the best part. Is we'll debate about it, right?
I'm going to bust out my DVDs and watch the commentaries.
Oh, what was Jesus like? That's crazy.
Good. Oh, you know what, motherfucker?
I have a VHS player. Okay, I can't talk. I actually bought one.
I don't.
At Goodwill. I do. I bought one at Goodwill because I thought it was cool to have. I'm vintage. I'm cool. Anyways, we will finish this up. We will wrap it up. Make sure to, if we go live, that's on YouTube and our Facebook page. So subscribe, put on notifications for one of them, maybe both, preferably. Come have discussions with us. Join our Discord. And then just hang out, man. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews. Everything goes into cool stickers, fancy pint glasses. We put everything back into the show to give you a better product and to hopefully just make everybody's lives a little less stressful from real life. That is our goal with this show. That's our, that's it. We're not making the big bucks. It's just to have fun and hang out.
Maybe you're not.
Yeah. Well, how do you think I go to Disney like twice a month?
Twice a month?
I'm just kidding. I have a sugar mama. I go a couple times a year. Sorry.
Oh, you? I thought you meant me.
No. I
was
talking about me. Like
I've
done a Disney cruise, and now I went to Disney. Like I was just making a joke.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, we love hanging out. We just love meeting new people. So go ahead and do that. We will see everybody next week. Thanks for chilling with us, and hopefully you get rid of your mark of Cain. Cheers.